Hi, this is Naresh. Today, I would like to talk about or give my honest and heartfelt feedback about diversity in the play school at Gachibowli, headed by Mehak Valecha. So, I'm a happy father of Hetansh. Hetansh is doing his PP2 at Diversity School, and even my elder kid Kundan got his preschooling done with done under Mehak. Pretty happy with the outcome, and that's the reason we never had a second thought while admitting Hitansh into diversity. And today we are very happy with that decision. Um, Coming to feedback, so probably I'll talk about a few things on which diversity does it very differently. Probably the first one to talk is about so when they start their preschool the school activities, so teachers and even Mehek takes a few weeks to months to understand each kid. So they kind of assess each of those children on various attributes. So when I say attributes, they kind of assess their motor skills, cognitive skills, they kind of social skills, and they can try to understand where they stand on all those skills. So for example, if a child is not so doing well socially, but he's all good with his motor skills, and his cognitive skills are pretty good, then they what they focus is that's everybody including the teachers have very good understanding about what should be focused for that child for that year, or at least for a couple of months. And they kind of bring that output back, and then his social skill would be improved. So I have experienced that. I've seen that in Hetansh and even Kundan too, and that's the reason I have brought on that point. And secondly, let me talk about the way they do this, the identification of the learning style of a children. So you know that some kids or some children learn hearing something, they're called auditory learners, and somebody learn through visually watching something, so they're kind of they're called visual learners, and somebody probably when they experiment. Right, so Hetansh is, for example, he's a visual learner, and so all his learning for a diversity for probably an year and a half in PP1 or so is done through flashcards. Flashcards is where they show the visually show the numbers, letters through cards, and the kid gets to identify each letter or a number or a phonic or whatever it is. So Hetansh has done very pretty well at that, and it worked very well because he's more of a visual learner than experimental or auditory. So thirdly, I would like to talk about the parent involvement at diversity. So Mehak is one person who really understands the importance of involving parents in the learning journey of a kid, particularly and primarily at this phase of preschool. Right, so a lot of discussions, they're called PTD discussions, parent teacher discussions, wherein led by Mehak, she kinds of interacts with every parent, understands what should we do for their kid, what not to do. And takes their consensus whenever she brings about a change. So for example, while eating, should they share or not, or should they really take bath by themselves, or should they carry their water bottle all by themselves, or should there be help. So these all decisions are not just taken by Mehek or teachers alone, but they involve parents, and they very much welcome any suggestion given out by parent. So we as parents will never feel left alone at diversity, that's for sure. And at diversity, they kind of follow some studio model, where the whole of the uh, the building or the school itself is divided into zones. So they call it art zone, the science zone, the math zone, And so what happens is that typically in any school, so there would be a class teacher assigned to a group of students, and one or two teachers per class, and you know the ratio for teacher to student that they talk about. But here in diversity, what they do when the day starts, they probably start with the art class, and then slowly the set of students, all six students in pp1 or pp2, they slowly move to their next zone, which is probably a math class. And after an hour, they kind of move into their next zone, which is kind of a science zone. So this way, this whole set of students at diversity get to interact with all the teachers, and in turn, even teachers know about each and every kid. So that's a kind of studio model, and it works pretty well. The teachers don't move around the zones. You only the kids to move around each zone, and that way it works really brilliant, I would say. And to talk about, there's a lot of importance that Mehak gives for life skills. For example, Hetash now does all things by himself. That's because of what diversity had taught him in his preschool. He eats by himself. He takes bath by himself. He likes to do everything by himself. Okay, so that's a kind of, and he knows the why it is very important to or learn this life skills, which would later help him and while he grows up. And finally, in short, what I would say is that kids would love to go to school. They always go with a happy smile. Right at the beginning of the entrance of the school, the teachers are there to welcome the little chaps with a smile, and whole day they are very engaged in a very playful manner, with a lot of infrastructure, a lot of good playground, and very innovative methods to teach. So in short, I would advise or recommend any parent to go ahead, trust Omehek, trust their team of teachers, and admit your children at diversity, and I'm sure you'll never regret it later. Thanks.